Alright, what's up, Pokemon trainers? This is your Pallet Town Heroes Podcast, Episode 4. I am one of the co-hosts, Dragonbees, and once again I am joined by the always amazing and somewhat slightly psychotic Cindershots.
How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're all wonderfully well. Now, we have a guest today. Also, side note, we'll talk about why we haven't been around in due time. We know that the channel's been a little bit quiet, but this is back at least, so we have something.
If there's anything you need in isolation right now is the dulcet tones of both mine and Cinder's voice.
There's something else keeping us entertained as well, because we have the wonderful, the amazing, the artist, Rileyy. Say hi.
Hi, Beans.
Why am I not surprised there was Beans?
So, Rileyy is the graphic artist for Pallet Town Heroes. What you're seeing on screen right now is thanks to him. And he does a lot of amazing work, both on like our channels and everything, and for the team as a whole. So pretty much everything you see graphic-wise is down to him. So I want to see hashtag thanks Rileyy in the comments. Thank you.
Pretty much, yeah. Like everything with Pallet Town Heroes, the graphical look of Pallet Town Heroes is pretty much Riley's
creation.
That's the word I'm looking for. I really need more coffee. I still want that coffee Pokemon. So, you know, yeah, and that sort of... Okay, I guess a good starting point is, how did you get into Pallet Town Heroes is probably a good start point. Like, how did you get to be in the community? Through who? Or did you just stumble across everyone and go, oh, what a weird bunch of people, I'm just going to join in and go, here, I'll draw pretty artwork for you all.
So Pokemon Sword and Shield came out, and I was very much on the fence about getting Sword and Shield, just because at the time I didn't have a Switch, so it was one of those, yeah, it's Christmas, my dude, yeah, do you wanna like get me a Switch, please, fam? Got gifted a Switch, got really into Pokemon again, was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm loving this art style, I'm loving all the starters, I want to see if I can doodle some Pokemon and see where that gets me. And around this time, I got a DM from Blue Jay being like, hey, it would be really cool if, you know, we do some design stuff together. Hey, do you think you could, like, do Pokemon stuff? I was like, oh, right, okay, I'll try it. I tried it. Apparently, I can do Pokemon stuff. So we promoted that. I then stumbled upon the Pallet Town Heroes Twitter account through Blue Jay, and I sent a DM being like, hey, you guys do some pretty cool stuff. I'm learning to do some Pokemon stuff. I'm just looking for experience right now. Do you think it might be a possibility to team up with you guys? And Cody was straight up like, yes, okay, let's talk. And then within the space of like 2 hours, I was added into the Discord, and thrown upon me was all these people being like, oh my gosh, yes. So
I might have been one of those.
And
like, this person can draw Dragonite, you're in.
The onslaught of work began, so it was 2 weeks of intense work, and now we're here. So yeah, that's me, really simple, just lurking in the shadows of Discord, and then occasionally I pop up being like, hey guys, so secret project time.
Hey guys, Resource here. Yeah, like, when I spoke with you for the first time, when I properly for the first time when I was doing my overlay stuff, it was and I'm not just saying this for the video or just because he's here. Riley's one of the nicest people to work with, because, well, put it this way, our voice call started, and within 10 minutes we were making random jokes and talking about Simpson predictions.
The Simpsons predicted the virus, everyone, just so you know. I still can't get over this.
Yeah, so that happened, but Rileyy is like really easy to work with, and his work is amazing. And he thinks he's not as good as he actually is. So I'm
not. My stuff is trash.
You want to know? You want to know something though? That is such a common thread within artists. My emote artist, Anne Diari, is the same. She thinks that her stuff is there's like 100 billion different people out there that can do better than what she does, and I'm like, no. You know, if anyone's seen my Dragonite emotes, they're just full of like life. You know, they've got so much. They're not just a generic. Some people, I don't know. I mean, Rileyy might agree, disagree. I mean, just if they disagree, they'll never be back again. We'll make them disappear. No. But no, artists, they're always so critical of their own work, and I guess it's it comes down to, you look at your work and you go, how can I improve this? But sometimes you don't know how to improve that, so you think, oh, it's not that great. But then someone else looks and goes, holy crap, it's amazing. And I guess it's that you're always wanting to better yourself than what you already are. And I know that you've been working on lots of different things and improving your skills on things as well. And that's something that everyone sort of goes through. But yeah, it's such a common thing with artists in general.
I mean, it's not fun at all. But
no,
100% no. Yeah,
it's like but it's like that in a lot of industries, though. Like, I'm a chef by trade, and I sometimes I think there's things I cook and I go, it's shit, and everyone's like, this is freaking amazing. I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh man! But you know what? It's all fun times. We've loved having Rileyy on the team, and part of the family, and it's been hilarious ever since, because it just seems to have fit in quite naturally, in my opinion.
It's because I hide, Cinder. I hide in the shadows. No one hears from me.
There's just two eyes in a bush somewhere going, oh, what are they doing over there?
That's not even wrong. That's the thing.
Talking of hiding, I thought I'd make a little bit of a segue. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. There has not been anything Gym Challenge related since how many weeks ago?
We suspended. All right. So, cut a long story short, and since the last podcast, both I don't know if Cinder was, but I've recently become part of the Pokemon League for Pallet Town Heroes, so I've got a bit more of a perspective of the bigger picture. So I think Cinder and I both got pulled into that at the same time. I could be wrong.
I think so, yeah.
And so there's been some internal personal issues because of the ongoing global crisis with coronavirus. You know, I don't want to spend all podcasts talking about coronavirus because it's literally everywhere, and I don't mean the actual virus, I mean the news. You know, so yeah, like Cody and Blue Jay and Poise and even me and like just everyone who's in that, even from the management side, have all had personal problems, whether it's loss of job or, you know, people are sick, or so we made a bit of a decision to just pull the plug on things for a little bit and just focus on our community as a whole. And
people were very stressed at the moment with everything that was going on, and people weren't able to focus too much on the Gym Challenge, rightfully so. So we felt like it was the best decision to kind of like alleviate some of that stress, to suspend it for now. If it will come back in future, we don't know, but suspend it for now just so people can focus on looking at themselves and those around them and making sure they're staying safe. That's the main thing.
The plan is to return to the Gym Challenge at some stage, but it really just depends on if it's feasible to try and... Because we kind of suspended it halfway through week 7, so it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't have that little bit more time to at least get to the end of like the 8-week period, and then we could have postponed the semis. But it within a few days, it just... everything escalated globally, and everyone's lives just turned upside down. So, you know, it was a realistic decision, and we wanted to be more like, all right, let's just support each other as a community instead of worrying about the content side of things. If content happens on your individual channels and you support each other, that's amazing. But from a Pallet Town Heroes perspective, as in like as a team, it just went, we can't physically or mentally do this as a team. It's not right to try and push ourselves to try and do this at the moment. And also not just from a personal perspective, and then from I won't say a business perspective, but an exposure perspective, it's not the right time now for some content. You know, and it would just do a disservice to us putting all the effort in, and every one of our content creators on the team putting the effort in, for very little return as well. So, you know, the emotional stress and the actual benefit from doing that is just it wasn't worth it, you know.
Everyone was too stressed and too busy and trying to make sure that they're being okay themselves to put the focus into Gym Challenge, and that's understandable because with everything going on, like your first priority should be staying safe and staying like okay.
Your second priority should be subscribing to the podcast, but
yeah, for sure. Subscribe to Pallet Town Heroes YouTube channel, but
subtle as a break.
Like, yeah, but the priority should be make sure that all of us in the family and the team are safe, and we don't want to make people have to stress and keep thinking about the gym challenge that happens every week, because that's just adding on to stress that's not needed. So that was the decision that was made.
So then, about 3 or 4 days ago, in a group chat with the podcast-related people, Ryan actually popped up and said, look, I've still got time, or I've got time to edit these things. If you guys want to keep doing the podcast, feel free to do so. I mean, Cinder and I were not of the opinion that we couldn't do it. It was more so, if we're going to suspend content, we should just suspend all content at the time.
Yeah.
Now that we've had a chance to sit back and look at everything and sort of go, all right, the podcast has the ability to just happen. It doesn't require a lot of people. It's a bit of fun. It's something that's a bit lighthearted and people seem to enjoy. I don't know why. You know, it's just me and Cinder and a guest and a train wreck. But you know, it's apparently that's appealing.
Rileyy, why did you want to come on, dude?
It's good. I like the podcast. They're really chilled.
You know, and we never wanted to take it too seriously, as in, like, we want to make good content, don't get me wrong, but it's like, we're not a serious podcast. Yes, we talk about some serious stuff sometimes, but it's also in a light-hearted way. I mean, even talking about the situation with the team at the moment, you know, we don't want to make it all doom and gloom. It doesn't mean that Pallet Town Heroes is in an absolute slump or anything. It's like everything. It's gone into a bit of a hibernation at the moment, and it's something that's still ticking along in the background. People are still active in our Discord. And at the moment, a lot of people have got more time to actually be playing things, you know, especially on their Switches. Pokemon, obviously, and for those of you who don't know, Animal Crossing has consumed lives.
Animal Crossing has taken over my life.
And, you know, I guess Pallet Town Heroes is primarily Pokemon, but it is Pokemon and Nintendo content. A lot of our creators, if they like Pokemon, are very much Nintendo as well. So, you know, Animal Crossing has come at a good time for a lot of people. I've found it incredibly relaxing, considering what's been going on a personal level. So it's, you know, it's nice to have that there. You know,
what have you been playing in this time, Rileyy?
I'm gonna sound like such a weeb.
Oh god. Is it cute anime things?
Okay, right. Real talk for a second.
Oh god.
So Riley's a workaholic. So Rileyy basically works 9 to 5 and then 5 to 10, and then between the hours of 10 to 12 he plays Kingdom Hearts 3. And then he goes back to work until 3 o'clock in the morning. So in my spare time, I've been replaying Kingdom Hearts 3 just because with all the work I've been doing, it's a really positive thing for me. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out next month, so I'm debating that. But I'm also debating getting Animal Crossing just because I keep seeing Bees and Cinder play it, and I'm like,
you know, as like I said, as much as Pallet Town Heroes is Pokemon content, holy crap! Just a small segue here. Animal Crossing is incredible, and I haven't played a lot of Animal Crossing games over the years, but New Horizons is just fun and it's relaxing. And like I streamed it the other night, and I had like 6 people come into my island, and we're all just running around doing stuff. And for some reason, they were excited about pulling the weeds out for me because there was weeds growing everywhere. I'm like, sure. I mean, it did look a little bit like slave labor, but.
But they offered.
They offered, so technically there was a contract in place and they had to fulfill it. But no, it was a lot of fun, and that's the thing that, you know, I think that's the most important thing at the moment for everyone, is that whilst the world is quite serious and things are going quite pear-shaped, it's important to take a step back and not shut off that negativity, but just take a breath and realise, okay, it's going to pass one day, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a month's time, but it will be gone and we'll resume our normal lives, and then we'll be complaining that we've got no time off, we can't play video games, we can't do anything. It'll be back to normal. So, you know, I try to put a positive spin on it and go, right, let's just enjoy what we can do with this time that we wouldn't be able to normally do. You know, and it's important also not to spend all your time on video games as well. As much as I love it, you know, go outside for a little bit. You can still go outside and walk. That's not an issue.
If you're allowed to in your country.
It depends. Yeah, I was going to say most countries, obviously go by what your governments are saying. Most countries are allowing people to go out for exercise because it's important, you know. So if that's still a thing, make sure you do. You know, fresh air is a great thing, and that's not trying to be sarcastic or anything. It's important to look after yourself and take advantage of what you can still do.
And when you come back inside, sit down, take a breather, turn your Switch on, and deal with those damn loans that Tom Nook has.
I was about to say, and then jam all of your bells at Tom Nook until his face explodes, and then we don't have to deal with it.
Oh, right. So what's been happening in Pokemon, guys?
So lots of things cancelled, sadly. Obviously with like tournaments and global stuff, yeah, that's kind of gone to shit. But Pokemon Go made some changes to make it more easily accessible to people, so they don't have to go out if they, or you know, that it's not as hard to still play it, which is, I think, is a nice step on their behalf.
I find it hilarious because, like, Pokemon Go are like, oh, we don't allow spoofing, and then they're like, oh, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how a change like this can make the dynamics of something change so dramatically compared to what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
I haven't played Pokemon Go in so long, man.
But they're doing little activity things, and there's a Genesect special research thing on at the moment, and yeah, there's not an awful lot. Pokemon Sword and Shield has gotten probably more information.
The Gigantamax formed for the Galarian starters were shown up.
Yes.
Riley, which one's your favourite? Because you seem excited about this one.
Yeah. I love water Pokemon, so anything to do with Sobble and I live.
Well,
Inteleon's Gigantamax is the best one. Come at me, I'll
sit on top of his tail.
I was gonna say it's all three of us are on that page.
Oh my god!
And look, see,
okay, listen, right? They're all good. Rillaboom is, Cinderaces is what I expected, but not in a bad way. Cinderaces is very cool. Inteleon sniping down at his opponent with a water sniper.
So cool.
My god.
It's an incredible
design.
design.
Best things I've ever seen.
And they've also announced shown off the starter for that DLC, which I can't find any more information on. Why can't I?
Kung-Fu, in the trailer, he looked adorable and amazing, and I love him.
He's such an angry panda.
He is a very angry panda.
I'm an angry panda when I get woken up in the morning. Bees.
Well, you know, just spoiler alerts, this is recorded in advance, and you set a time, and then somebody decides not to wake up.
No, right, okay. Full disclosure to everyone listening, I was awake like 10-15 minutes before this podcast even started. We were meant to start at an earlier time. I was asleep. So, yeah, full disclosure. That's me. It happens. We're only human. Let's move on. Right. No, Kung-Fu.
So
it evolved into one of two Pokemon.
Yeah, but is it? I was trying to work it out based on the designs. I don't think it's one of two Pokemon. I think it's two, a bit like Toxtricity is.
Oh yeah. That's what it is. But like, I'm interested into how they both work because they look quite different.
I'm assuming one is more because it's obviously based around fighting style kung fu type thing. I'm assuming one's gonna be like punching and one's gonna be like kicking.
Didn't they have like different typings?
Yeah, but yeah.
Good talk. Right. Okay, so we've got So the Pokemon it evolves into is called Urshifu. And
Kung Fu Panda.
It has single strike style, which is fighting in dark, and rapid strike style, which is fighting in water.
Interesting.
I'm interested in what rapid strike style can come out with.
Rapid strikes.
And shut up. Shifu's form is dependent upon choices made during your adventure. So it's not depending on game, it's depending on choices.
Ah.
Pokemon goes Telltale, everyone. Pokemon goes Telltale.
Oh god.
Oh my god, I'd love that. Like, real talk.
Shifu will remember that.
Stop that! Oh, well, that's a stream title.
Oh god.
But I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be amazing. Isle of Armor, I think it's called.
Yeah, the first expansion's Isle of Armor, yeah.
And it comes out by the end of June.
I think it's June, yeah.
We're not too far from it.
No, not really.
It feels like forever at the minute.
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels like forever ago that we did the episode 3 of this podcast, but it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's
Side note, again, thanks to JP for coming into that one. That was fun.
Yeah.
Really
there's
funny.
some news. Actually, there's some news I forgot that we can talk about because we didn't know that during the episode 3. We have a new team member in Pallet Town Heroes, and it is none other than JP. Just Play Pokemon joined the Pallet Town Heroes. So
he definitely didn't have to, but the fact that he did was very nice. So thank you, JP, if you listen to this, for joining.
So that's incredible, and I'm looking forward to having another opportunity to work with him. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah. What else has been happening, people?
I think honestly, there's not really much apart from the raids changing to have some more diverse exclusives, but that's about it.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming to Pokemon Masters, Guzma and Golisopod, and Plumeria and Salazzle. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of things have been cancelled or postponed or not happening at all, which is kind of sad, but...
it's all great.
Yeah.
I mean, can we like fictionalize the future of Pokemon for a second?
I mean, if you have an idea, then shoot, go for it.
Like just an idea, throwing it out there. Do you ever think that like dual type gyms could be implemented in future games? So
I'm surprised
for example, if
they
you had,
haven't.
I don't know, what's a really bad matchup that would also be quite funny? Water and electric type gyms.
Oh my god.
Just because I feel like if I was ever a gym leader, I could not separate Yamper from Mudkip. I'd be like, no, both in the same gym. You will be confused just as I am, but for some reason I love them.
Well, I guess the only example of that I can think of that, and it wasn't deliberately done that way, but was it in Gold and Silver and all that, where Viridian City was no longer run by Giovanni with ground types, it was run by Blue, and he had a mixed team.
Yeah, I mean, something else, like in Gen 1, Koga, he had, didn't he have like a fighting type on his Poison Gym?
No, because didn't he just have Venonats and Venomoths in the first game?
I'm not too sure. I might be sounding like an idiot. You know what? You keep talking.
All I can see every time I think of Koga from the original game is him going.
No, I know exactly what he's on about.
He says it a lot. Like he'll say a sentence and then go. I'm like, what even is that? Just I don't understand. Oh, I'm going to kick your butt. It's going to take off like a helicopter.
The thing I was thinking of was Sabrina, Psychic type, had a Venomoth on her team.
But that wasn't game. That wasn't game. That wasn't Gen 1. I reckon that was Gen 2.
No, it was Gen 1. I'm reading it.
Oh,
wait, she had a Venomoth in Gen 1?
So, Gym 6, Saffron City, Sabrina. Her team consisted of Kadabra, Mr. Mime, Venomoth, and Alakazam. I know the Venomoth had Psybeam, so yes, it's down the Psychic type move, but, you know.
I'm so confused.
I don't know how much clearer I can make it for you, Bees.
No. I'm not understanding. Wait, when did she didn't have a Mr. Mime?
She did.
In what gen? Red and blue?
One! Red and blue!
I apologise for everything, listeners. I did not mean for it to turn into this. It's just
Oh my
a genuine
God.
open question, which has suddenly perplexed bees. If you know the answer to this, just type it in the comments below.
It's probably going to say Bees is an idiot, but that's okay.
Oh no!
Oh my god, this is something I've been pushing lately, and bees get sick of it. Can we get wallabies in comments?
No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
Oh, it is. It is. It's gonna be.
So, change of subject, but back to what Rileyy was saying. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking sort of predictions or future stuff or things that you would think would be cool and that, so there's one thing that's been rumored for quite a while, and there's been some art lurking around about it as well, and I think I would have an absolute meltdown if it happened, is that the other expansion that's coming out is, oh god, what's
the Crown Tundra.
Crown Tundra, right? So there's going to be a lot of snow and ice and stuff like that. Cold things, like my heart and soul. And so there was art getting around of a Galarian form of Dragonite.
Oh!
And he's blue. And he's basically what people think he would look like if he doesn't change colour, and be like the next step from Dragonair. And I really, really like it. It's such an... I don't know... yeah, I was going to say...
I know you'd be excited for it because you're a Dragonite fanboy, and that's understandable.
I think it's going to be Dragon Ice type, obviously. Which is an intriguing design, because dragons don't typically like ice types.
We don't have any Dragon Ice types yet, do we?
What's Kyurem?
Okay, we don't have many Dragon Ice types, do we?
He's the only one, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he's... Yeah.
And I believe both forms of Kyurem, like black and white, are also Dragon Ice. I think.
I don't know.
It's just that Kyurem Black can learn Fusion Bolt and Kyurem White can learn Fusion Flare, but they're still Dragon Ice.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Galarian Dragonite, it'll be very cool to see, because I don't know why it lost its blue colour when it evolved. I think it'll look amazing as blue.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My big orange fat derpy boy is fine. I love him, but
I feel attacked.
he can feel attacked. And so that's awesome. But like, an alternative would be good. Because I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm disappointed that he hasn't made it into the game yet, and it's mainly because I would have actually preferred, and God, this is going to be a controversial opinion here, that the champion Leon had a Dragonite as opposed to a Charizard.
Oh, shit!
And the reason being is that Charizard is so predictable as that, and I don't know, the Charizard doesn't, to me, match Leon, if that makes sense. You know, because he says about he battled Rayhan a lot, and they're good friends and they're very similar, and it's like, it's almost like Rayhan's the dragon gym leader, and then it's almost like Leon's the champion, but then he's been given a Pokemon that's not a dragon.
It's alright though, because Leon and Charizard are both very similar in personality traits. Like, they're both fiery, they're both loud, they're both overrated as hell. Come at me, comments!
I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Charizard, but I just don't get the love of Charizard over so many other Pokemon.
Yeah.
And
that's what annoys me. Like, I do love Charizard. His shiny amazing, but it's not as good as people make it out to be.
No. I mean, most Gen 1 shinies are pretty rough, because they just literally flip the color palette.
Gengar.
Gengar, yeah, exactly. You know, and that's why it upsets me with the shiny for Dragonite, because he just looks like he's got some sort of disease or he's going to throw up.
Talking of colour schemes, one little fun fact tidbit I found out yesterday.
Oh, yes.
So Spinarak, known as a green-colored Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was also green in Pokemon Crystal, but did you know in Pokemon Gold and Silver he was actually purple?
It's purple?
His colour got changed to green in Crystal. Don't know why, but in the official artwork for Spinarak, even in Gold and Silver was green, but in the Gold and Silver games he was purple. Don't know why, but it was changed to green and Crystal to match his official artwork, and it's stuck that way ever since.
Intriguing.
Little fun fact for you.
I will cherish it. I'll put it in my heart and lock it away. Keep it for another time.
But yeah, Galarian Dragonite.
So, you know, I guess that's there's lots of other things speculated to be going on, but that was one that that personally for me, I was like, I actually quite like that idea.
Just add ghost types to the DLC and I'll be happy. I'll even take a dark type or a fairy type, but just add ghost types, please.
I would also like to see a new evolution.
Yes. Yes.
What type would you want to see, Riley?
I don't know. I feel. I'd be curious what a. Oh, that's a cat.
Did the cat get thrown out a window?
I'd be curious what a dragon-themed Eevee would look like, to be honest, especially with the DLC.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'm curious about that. I'm also a steel one was one that I'd like to see. I think a steel one could be very.
The fan art for all the types of Eevee evolutions that haven't come out yet are all amazing.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. They're pretty cool.
The steel one does look amazing, though. I will say that. You know what? Let's get steel evolution. I think that'd be great.
What typing do we not have a lot of?
Dark? No, we've already got dark. Duh.
I was going to say Umbreon. Oh my god. The best shiny ever is or one of the best shinies is shiny Umbreon. I love shiny Umbreon.
Yeah. Oh, I've just realised. It'll be awesome to have a bug evolution. Now I know that sounds weird, but just imagine the design. Just imagine the amazing moves it can come out with.
Would you go if you had a bug design? Would you go down the path of like a Butterfree or a Venomoth style, or would you go down the path of like a crab type thing, like a Paris or like a ground based wiggly thing?
I don't know. I think I'm probably more so towards like a flying insect type thing, but obviously without the wings, because then it'll be bug flying, and we've got plenty of those. But I don't know. I don't know how it would look, because I can't remember the fan art for bug types, and it makes me sad. But I think a bug type evolution would be cool, if anything.
What's your favourite type, Riley?
I really like water Pokemon. Water Pokemon are my heart and soul.
Is that because they're as cool and chill as you, or?
Nice.
But at the same time, it depends on like the look of a Pokemon. I'm unfortunately one of those people, so I will always choose a starter based on what they look like at the end. And then if they all look like trash, I just keep them as their innocent baby forms.
Yeah, I get that though. There are some Pokemon I just hate the way they evolve.
Like
strong word.
If I could have a solid team of water Pokemon, that would be cool. But I know at the same time, I look at the bird Pokemon, I'm like, oh, hello, you are beautiful. But I also now look at Yamper and I'm like, my boy, my son, my everything.
Yamper is adorable.
Yamper's amazing.
So
His shiny makes him look sunburnt.
It does. Like someone put him in a toaster and left him there for a while.
Bees was looking for a shiny Yamper recently. How'd that go?
I know, I saw.
Oh yeah, so alright, so seeing there's not a lot of news, we're just going to talk about Pokemon things in general, and Cinder and I both participated in something we've never done before, and that was a shiny race, and it was fun. It derailed into really bad dad jokes, but that's okay. Yeah, it was a shit show towards the end, but that's okay. We were both hunting, we did fresh hunt. I decided to go for Yamper, and
I was going for Duskull.
And so we also use different methods. I'm absolutely mad, and I decided to use the running around, encountering and killing them. And
Because Bees obviously hates himself. I went for the Masuda method because that's the only method that allows me to keep my sanity.
Oh,
see, I'm the opposite. I just find spinning around in a circle. I do enough of that in my real-time life stuff. That I don't need...
am concerned to ask for context.
I just I get up every morning, just run around in a circle in my room, and
is your floor filled with like those rocket hideout turntable panel things?
Absolutely. That's how I get around. I just stand on them and they take me where I need to go. Zoom along.
that's such a good idea, though.
It sounds dangerous, man.
Well, yeah, especially living in the house with my partner. He's an accident waiting to happen. He doesn't need extra, you know.
Oh.
So, but no, it was like, yeah. So I encountered nearly 60 and Cinder hatched about 100 and something eggs.
115, I think.
So obviously it's half as, I won't say effective as such, but yeah, the process is half as efficient.
I was just hoping my luck would come through, but no. The Red Duskull didn't want to show itself. It didn't want me to win. Fine.
And obviously every Yamper under the sun had actually been wearing sunscreen, so it was fine.
It's because they're being safe in the world now. Even Yamper knows.
Yeah.
What I love about Yamper, when I first seen Yamper, I was like, oh my god, it's a derpy corgi dog thing. And then, like, it evolves into this majestic, like, hound.
Oh, yes.
That couldn't be any more, like, different, you know, like, yeah. It was...
I am Bolt. He could... I'm sorry, but when I see Yamper, I just think of the hamster from Bolt, and then when he evolves, I actually think of Bolt. It's
this
like,
is
yes,
true.
I want to be Bolt, and then suddenly, ta-da!
Ta-da! So yeah, and Yamper's spawn rate on Route 2 is not overly high, but it's fairly frequent, but not as much as, say, when I hunted for Wooloo, so...
Fairly frequent. Can I just go back to the fact that when we did stream, all I heard was you complaining about you couldn't find one.
Well, no, it was like they appeared in clumps.
You can't explain it as clumps.
I found clumps of Yamper.
No, dude, you find clumps of hair on the floor. You don't find clumps of Yamper.
So I found like I'd find 2 or 3 Yampers in a clump, and
Ew.
What would you call it, though? A horde?
No, a pack.
No, you wouldn't call... No. It's
They're dogs. You call them a pack of dogs. It's the same with Yamper.
No. Cinder, if it's more than 3 now, it's a social gathering. What are you talking about?
Sorry, I was encouraging a social gathering of Yampers last night.
Well played. Well flipping played.
But like, yeah. So no, they just I don't know. I'd call them a derp of Yampers.
I can get behind that.
Because they are. See, I don't consider derp bad. I mean, I love Dragonite, and he's as derpy as hell. So I was going to use another word there, but I'm keeping it PG-13 for a change.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say. That.
I paused and went, hell
I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've scored once in this podcast so far.
Oh, that's all right.
Knowing what you was going to say, yeah.
Cinder, we worked this out the other day that I'm older than Cinder, and Cinder is still shocked.
I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that. Sorry.
Wait,
so we were both born in the same year. Shocker. Both born in the same month.
No, not same month. We're a couple of months apart.
That's what I meant. And that's what makes me sad, because you let's put it simply. You hear us both. I sound older. But
yes.
Apparently Riley's a couple of months older than me. And that confuses the hell out of my brain.
That's because Riley's an amazing, adorable bean, and you're just a I don't know what you are.
Ah, man.
Wow.
Well, that's the end. No, but it just confused the hell out of me, man. When I found out, I was like, well, this is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, but well, hang on. How old? What's the age difference here? Tell me. Like what?
23.
It's like 4 months apart.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a small amount.
Small amount.
I thought you were talking.
It's not the size, it's the impact, and that's what matters.
Oh, good lord. Well, if it makes you both feel better, I'm 30, so that just makes me feel old as hell.
Oh, please no!
I'm used to it.
No.
Every stream is, oh, you're old. Thanks, thank you.
No.
Please, sir, may I have another insult? So yeah, so it was good, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of people in our community that already do shiny hunts and things like that, and shiny races and that kind of stuff. So it was a nice moment to be able to do something a little bit different. I mean, I've done some shiny hunts, but not a lot, and so I usually get people telling me, "Oh, you should do this method," and it's like, no. I'm just going to do it how I want to do it.
I only got into shiny hunting this year, and it's driven me insane, but I love it. I've actually really enjoyed doing it.
Well, I was going to make it even worse. I was going to hunt Dreepy, but see, I don't like Masuda, so, and if I was going to hunt Dreepy the way I hunt most things, I would probably not ever want to play Pokemon again.
You get 20 encounters in a 2-hour stream. Like,
I was going to say, because Dreepy is like a 1% spawn rate in one area or whatever it is, the Lake of Outrage or whatever it's called. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. And plus, I mean, look, as much as I like Dreepy in that, I can't like Dreepy that much because it's Cody's mascot, and that just makes me sick.
We got the one in each podcast, boys.
Is it sad that I was literally like, we haven't dissed Cody yet, I need to work this into the conversation.
I didn't know how to do it.
Subtle as a brick, I am.
Yeah. Dragon Ball sucks. Anyway.
And let me just put. All right, so we've mentioned this. Yep, this Cody. Cross that off the list. Yep, we're going well.
Oh man.
So yeah, I guess the other thing is moving forward with PTH is that just stay tuned. It's an ever evolving situation. In that. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Follow Pallet Town Heroes on Twitter so you know what's happening with us, because that's where we'll update people. We'll update people on the Discord, and then that will transfer over to Twitter. So join both, so that way you'll know what's happening. I don't know current plans in detail yet.
We've got a couple of things. I mean, everything's been suspended at the moment, but there are, when we do come back, we've got some good things that are kind of half lined up already. So, you know, I think that when we do have the ability to return to some level of normality, it will be quite strong in what we're about to do, which is good. But yeah, I guess, you know, it's a bit of a wait and see situation, but yeah. So I guess the other thing I want to, we've sort of touched on everything with Pokemon and news and everything else. I guess the other thing is that so Rileyy, let's talk about you for a bit. So did you think you were going to escape? No. So how long have you been doing what you do now, like your graphics and like overlays and artist stuffs?
So I've been fiddling around with graphic design for 14 years now. Oh whoa, a long ass time. I've been doing commissions properly for the last 2 years, and animation has been basically a stop and go kind of thing for the last year. And it's only really been in the last couple of months that it's got more intense, because I now do freelance stuff for Cartoon Network.
Hey!
So that is me.
Holy crap.
And we're the celebrities, come on.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, I didn't know that one. That's...
I keep...
See, I only knew a hint about that because I saw his Instagram story once, and I know one of them mentioned Cartoon Network, so that's the only reason why I knew that.
That's insane.
I can't say a lot, but there will be a new program coming out on Cartoon Network soon that will feature Riley's animation.
Oh!
Wow.
Exciting.
Let me just say...
Exciting.
Let me just say, and I genuinely mean this, and I've said this to you in DMs as well, I'm incredibly proud of what you do. Compliments, oh god!
Legit though, like the stuff you do is amazing.
I think, as much as, you know, the content is what drives Pallet Town Heroes, your artwork and your design stuff you've done for us is what brings it together as a cohesive thing. I'm big on branding, and I'm big on making sure that things I mean, different assets look different, you know, so the podcast has got a bit of a different style to, you know, other things. But if you look at it as a whole picture, you go, that's Pallet Town Heroes. And that's what I like. And it's the same thing with my stuff that you've done with me. It's like my overlays and the Dragon Beast logo and my schedule thing and everything you've done for me they all have their own little personal quirks, but as a big picture, it's instantly recognizable as my artwork for my channel. And that's what I like about that. And not a lot of people can do that.
And the stuff you've done for me, people can realise how much I love Chandelier, so thank you for that.
I love when I message Rileyy with a new project or whatever. I'm like, oh, Rileyy, I want this, but and literally the first few times it's like it must just have Dragonite on it. Now it's just like I get sent stuff and it's already got Dragonite on it. It's like I don't even have to mention it. It's like it must have Dragonite on it. You know, and so what do you I guess it's hard. Do you ever find yourself getting into a trap of like, you want everyone's things to stand out as their own, if that makes sense? And what I've noticed with your stuff is that every person's is very uniquely theirs. It's not cookie cutter. I've, you know, just taken a template as such and, you know, and just thrown some stuff together. It looks unique to that person, but do you ever find yourself looking at something and go, I feel like I've done this before, I need to do something different?
Yes and no. It's kind of a weird mix. Whenever I work with someone, I never see them as a client. To me, they are friends first and foremost, just because what I create is part of their branding journey. So therefore I feel like I owe it to them to make it as personally connected to that person as possible.
Yeah.
Because if I produce something that does not emulate who they are as a person, then the two aren't going to mesh well together. So for example, when I did Cinder's stuff, we were chilling on VC and we were trying to be professional for like 5 minutes, and then it quickly escalated into chaos.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it only took 5 minutes. I thought it'd be like 2 or
It's because I'm a shy, anxious being when I talk to people, because I don't know what people expect of me. That I don't know whether it's, oh yeah, Riley's this really serious graphic designer, or, you know, yeah, I want this, I want this, I want this.
In all fairness, you did warn me beforehand in DMs.
It's like, no, I am not professional at all. Like, 100%, we're going to be talking about memes at some point. But after I speak to someone, you can generally get a very good tell of what a person is like after a couple of messages. So with Cinder, I knew exactly what kind of thing I wanted to create for him. So I just stayed up all evening, chucked something out, sent it to him in the morning, was like, cool, I'm going to bed now. Here you go. Here's the thing.
That actually did happen, though.
I was going to say, I've literally had that happen too with Rileyy. I'll get up the next morning and it's like, I look at when the message was sent, it's like 3 a.m. Here's something I threw together. I don't know whether it's good or not, but here, have a look and let me know what you think. And I open it and I'm like practically crying at how beautiful it is. And it's like, this is perfect. Like, it's amazing. Like the first time I seen the Dragonite animations and that, I was like, oh my God. You like that, my flamethrower transition thing that you did for between scenes is exactly what I wanted from the very beginning of streaming, and that's the honest truth. That is the transition that I wanted, and you've just nailed that. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't ever want to change this ever. I just don't. Or maybe I'll get a snow version if we get the ice. Plant ideas there.
It's so good. What I've been told by a lot of my really close friends is that I'm a very empathetic person. It's both a blessing and a curse. So when someone doesn't really know what they want, I kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, well, what about this option? And what about this option? And unlike a lot of other graphic designers, I don't sketch stuff out. It's literally my brain will come up with this concept and then I do my very best to communicate it from brain to screen.
Yeah.
And I will sit there and I will not move until a project is complete. And my housemates hate me for this because they're like, Rileyy, you need to take a break. You've been sat there for like 8 hours. Get up, go get a drink. And I'm like, no, I will do it once this is done.
When we were doing that, like when we were working together to get my stuff done, that was similar to the case because it was like, I wasn't too sure as to exactly what I wanted. I just knew the kind of idea. So me and Rileyy sat for a little bit just discussing possible ideas. Rileyy came up with most of the ideas immediately because I had no idea like what I truly wanted. I just knew the kind of like like kind of direction, and then Rileyy managed to like fill in the gaps, managed to use just use his designer brain, I guess, and just managed to bring out something absolutely astonishing. So it was absolutely amazing to see. And some of the stuff Rileyy comes out with, he scares me. But
What? What?
bro,
What?
some of the random stuff we said, it was weird.
What?
And then there was a time recently, one of Bee's streams, where you said that you'd call me. I said, do
don't.
it, you won't.
Oh,
And you did.
You did. That did happen in my stream. I was like, wait, you legit called Cinder? All
It was
right.
great. But yeah.
But then we did a Pokemon quiz and it was okay because revenge was had because Cinder couldn't remember the evolutions. He was there like, oh yeah, I know all of the original Pokemon. I've got this quiz sorted. After like 8 minutes. No, Rileyy, I'm stuck.
Oh, is that where you name the first 150 Pokemon or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that recently and I was horrified at like, but then I had this moment of like, I can cheat this, and then I started doing the pokey rap in my head.
Oh,
So it's like da-da-da-da-da-da.
how many did you get, Bees? Roughly around.
I was only missing 6.
Cool, I'm awful. Right. I only got about 80 done.
I managed to get, and it was only towards the end that I started reciting the Poke Rap in my head. I just Gen 1 is my gen, and it's like I know all of the Pokemon in that gen. And I think what I missed was one-offs like Kangaskhan and I won't say. No, I remember Chansey. I know that because it's like Mr. Mime. It's just forever ingrained in my head that it's a creepy clown, weird.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like, but I've done those quizzes, and it's like, oh yeah. But from that point forward, like Gen 2, I could probably do, and then it just gets ugly.
No, Gen 2 would be my least successful one. Oh no, Gen 6. Because I've already spoken about this podcast before. I won't go into it again. But Gen 6 Pokédex is probably like my least knowledgeable one. Gen 2 followed just after. Not because Gen 2 is a bad game, just because that's one of the games I've spent the least time in. And I thought I'd do well with Gen 4, and then I started doing Gen 4, and I failed. So,
yeah.
That was great. Rileyy made me feel good, and that's cool.
What? What?
Yeah. Oh my god, the way you said that then, it's going to be a complete segue then. If anyone knows Achievement Hunter, you sounded like Gavin Free, and that just scared the fuck out of me. You what now? Oh god.
That was amazing.
I love it. So yeah, because I wouldn't say I'm jealous of people who can do art and stuff.
Oh, I am.
I know I have skills elsewhere, and you can't be skilled at everything because that would just be mind-numbing. But like, everyone has their own source of creativity, and I love when people can put creativity onto this kind of stuff. I mean, I've gotten to know a few really talented art people. As I said, the one I mentioned before, Antiari, who does the most amazing emotes, and it's like, but the process that people go through is just always so incredible. Like, Anne does sketching and that, whereas as you said, you don't do that. Whereas Anne can go from a sketch to an emote immediately once she's got her sketch down. And I guess it's also because that's a smaller scale too. You have to be really conscious of position and yeah, because if you put too much detail in it, it's just going to look like a horrible blob when it gets uploaded to Twitch or whatever, or Discord. And it's like, all right, cool. So, you know, and then I've got other people who use more traditional media who can draw amazing stuff just with a, you know, not with a pen and paper, but you know what I mean. So, you know, I always find that people who can do digital media, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a hard media to work with compared to other things, because it's not a physical thing, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but that's fine. That's normal. Nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. But like, yeah, I find digital art incredible to watch as well. And you know, I guess
That's just a theory.
Yeah,
No getting theory.
You just gotta. You look at the fact that like you've also got to have an eye for this stuff, but you also got to have the technical know-how as well. Especially when it comes to animation stuff. Like animation stuff's insane.
Well, it helps.
Animation takes so long. It takes so long.
It is. I have a friend who studied or has that's their field, and watching them do animations was incredible to watch, but like mind-numbing. I'm like, you have to go practically frame by frame by frame by frame. And I'm like, I would have just completely lost Because obviously,
I mean, it looks amazing when you see all of the frames on one layer, and like you can see the path the animation is going to take. But the process of actually doing it, when you have to go back, make sure you're using the right color, and then you realize, oh no, that looks a bit junky. I'm going to have to add an extra frame in.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, no, I guess that. And do you enjoy the Pokemon art? If that makes sense.
I do. But whenever I get a Pokemon commission, I feel like my PC is secretly really happy because it suddenly goes a lot quicker.
I guess they're a bit more simplistic, aren't they?
They're simplistic. They've got a lot brighter color palettes to work with, and a lot of Pokemon are just basic shapes. So when it comes to doing drawings or animation, it's a lot simpler than, for example, doing an animated transition, because that is very much, okay, I need to get the detail in, I need to think about where I want the special effects to come in, and then you have to think about animating the special effects, so which direction the fire is going to come in, which direction the sparks are going to come in.
Okay, I have a question for you then.
Yes.
To your knowledge, what was one of the most challenging things you've had to do in a commission? Could be recent or could be in total.
Probably the water animation I did for Bees at the bottom of his screen.
Oh, really?
Like all of the waves, they're hand drawn. So the shading of the water is hand drawn.
Are we talking my intro, outro? Yeah. They're all hand drawn.
They're all hand drawn pieces.
Holy shit!
All frame by frame bits of water. Which is why that whole pack took me 2 days instead of my normal turnaround of like a couple of hours, which really frustrated me.
I know, you kept saying, I'm so sorry, it's not like, it's fine, Riley, it's okay. The result is there, holy crap. I didn't realise, wow, okay. I didn't realise they were all hand-drawn. Oh my god.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. I also don't know if I was like sitting there like, please don't say me, please don't say my commission, please. Bees. Yeah, that's my commission. Of course it was.
No, it's not the whole thing. It was just an element of it.
Yeah.
Another example was what's one of the really big ones I did? A little while ago, I did a really big commission for my friend OK Ayasu, who is a streamer that bases herself around Stitch, and
I've seen that one.
She originally wanted an Aloha theme, and I was like, cool, we're going to do that. That was fine. And then she wanted to rebrand so it was more purple and shapes. And it's when a streamer doesn't have an idea, and then I can't really come up with an idea because they're not sure what they want. They're the projects that I struggle with the most, because when it comes to visually trying to get something down, I look at it after an hour and I'm like, I'm not liking how this is going. This is not what I had in mind. This isn't what the streamer probably had in mind. And then it's that fear of sending it to the client. Oh no, they don't like it, I need to rework it. And I don't have an issue with reworking. It's, when you become attached to a design, but then your design isn't what they wanted, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, 100%. Obviously a little bit different, but that was kind of Cinder and my thought process with the podcast. The first episode was we went in blind, not knowing what we were going to do and what everyone expected, and the whole time, like afterwards, we're like, well, it's done now. We think it went all right, but what are other people going to think? And it was that moment of like, if they say they don't like it, I have no idea what else we're meant to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
I get that thought now about this one. But at this point, I'm like, I'm doing all that I can. I'm being the best I can be. If people don't like it, then that's fine.
I guess that comes with, I mean, I've done a little bit of podcasting and that as well, so like I'm sort of used to it, but this is a little bit different in the... Normally when I go on a podcast, it's my own creation, as in like, I did a few podcasts for my own channel and that was fine because it was me driving it and I knew what I wanted. And then I've also been on a friend's podcast for their for Ruby, and for those who don't know, it's a Rooster Teeth series. And so they had an established audience and that, and I was coming in as a guest, so that's a bit different as well because there's a structure. Coming into this was like, there's no structure as such. We've got
to make the structure.
And it's not our audience, it's the entire community's audience for Pallet Town Heroes. So it's not just Cinder's audience or my audience, it's people who have probably never watched our content or don't know a lot about us. So there's that mindset of like, all right, how do we want to represent us, but also represent the Pallet Town Heroes community? So I get that mentality of not second guessing yourself, but then trying to guess what others want, and then it's not quite, so, and it's mind blowing. Like, it really messes with your head. It's like, is that going to be what they want? And then if they come back and go, like I'll be honest with you, I was sitting here the whole time and going, I think Cody's just going to go, what the hell, guys? Like, what did you do? What is this? And it was even worse because like he was going to originally listen to it before it went out, and he didn't.
Yeah, so it's like it was going out, and we was like, "Is it good or not?"
And he's like, "Oh no, just put it out and I'll watch it." I'm like,
I mean, he had faith in us. I don't know why, but he did.
He did. And the funny thing is, like, Cinder and I had only spoke. No, we hadn't. Our first.
No, the first time we probably spoke was getting ready for the first podcast.
Cinder and I don't. No, we hadn't. That was our first time speaking. Was getting our first podcast recorded.
No, that's what I'm saying. The first time we were ever spoken, it being in call. Was like, before the first part, like just before getting ready for it.
So it was a weird experience because it was like Cinder and I had never spoken. We chatted a little bit in like Discord and that, but not interacted that much. Yeah. And it was like Cody was looking for people to join in, and we're like, I might be interested. And Cinder put his hand up, and they're like, all right, you two can do it. And we're like, all right. So it's like, sure. And it's like, are we gonna mesh well? Are we gonna work well together? Is it?
I think we do. I like when we did our stream yesterday.
That was only yesterday, Cinder. Did you lose? When was that again? No, sorry.
I only woke up 10 minutes before this podcast. But no, when we streamed yesterday, as of this recording, when this comes out, it'll be on Monday. But when we streamed on the Friday, just gone, I got a couple of comments in my stream at least saying, "You two need to get together more. It's very interesting to watch and listen to." So it's like, we get along well.
Oh yeah. I mean, the therapy afterwards is good, but
yes, it's not for me. It's expensive as hell, but it's fine. But me and Bees have become good friends out of this.
And it's been really good. Like, we went from doing the podcast together to like now we were like, all right, we'll do this the shiny race, and people enjoyed that, and it's like, and I guess that's the whole thing with the community stuff and getting to know people is that it's like, if it hadn't been for joining PTH, I wouldn't know who the hell Cinder was. And also I wouldn't have my overlays from Rileyy and wouldn't know who Rileyy was. And, I DM Rileyy once or twice a week, and it's usually just like, hello, how are you? And stuff.
Oh.
And,
I agree.
It's just like, and then we have a conversation, and then that's it. And it's like, all right, cool. And that's nice. You can just randomly check on people and see how they're going and stalk them relentlessly. And then,
oh my God.
I've made good friends with a few people because of Pallet Town Heroes. I speak to obviously outside of you two lovely people. I also speak to Lani and Levi on a regular basis. And I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for PTH as well. Yeah. And like everyone I've interacted with in PTH, I've loved the interaction. So it's like, it's been a wonderful place, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
I'm gonna get all emotional. I can't. Oh no, I'm actually. Oh, no,
cry.
Go on.
No, it's because this is like my first time technically addressing everyone in the team. Some of which I've spoken to, some of which I haven't spoken to, and I don't talk a lot in the server just because I still don't know to this day where I kind of fit in. It's kind of Oh yeah, that's Rileyy. If you need stuff done, go to Rileyy. Rileyy makes pretty things. And then I occasionally drop into people's streams when my internet is not being utter arse.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah, hi, how's it going? Is this okay? Do you need this changing?
You did that. I love when you came in last night during the stream, the Shiny Hunt stream, and you're going like, is everything okay? I just want to make sure it was working. It's like, it's fine, Rileyy. It looks wonderful. But that's that. I guess that above and beyond thing that, you know, you've got some graphic designers who look at things and, all right, you're just a paycheck. And then some graphic designers who are like, as you said, Rileyy, and that's why I like working with Anne and a few others that I work with, is that they go to that next step and like, what do you want that's going to represent you, how you want it to represent you, and what does it that connection? It's not just a graphic; it's your entire stream style. It's how it meshes with everything that you do, your personality, you know. And even with me, I've gotten in the habit of originally when people are like, what are you as a streamer? I'm like, I'm me. I don't know how to explain that, but you know, I strongly relate to Dragonite, which sounds really weird because I'm a big, derpy, hopefully lovable idiot, and that's me.
Can confirm.
And I occasionally can fly, apparently. No. Not recommended. Don't try that. But you know, and
you was in the hospital for weeks.
So that was like, you know, I say to people now, I'm as derpy and as stupid as what Dragonite appears, and that is me. I'm not a pro gamer. I don't come to my stream if you want to see good gaming skills, because they don't exist. So you know. And if you want to watch me scream my guts out, watch me play a horror game. So, you know, it's like, you know.
I'm far from a pro gamer. Technically, I kind of was one at some point. That's a fun story.
Oh, God.
I mean, I'll quickly touch on it now before we end. But I was part of a console semi-pro like league. I'm not going to say the name because obviously I don't want... Anyway, I was part of a console-based league back not long after I started streaming. I was originally I was originally a caster, a commentator over Overwatch matches for Xbox.
Why am I not surprised? You come across as the caster type.
It was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again, but I just felt like I loved Overwatch, so I stopped doing it. And then I ended up being picked up by one of the teams as a Mortal Kombat player in the same league because they were getting some Mortal Kombat tournaments going. And that was when Mortal Kombat X was a thing. And that was a very fun time. And then I was on to another team that I'd done some stuff for, and then that stopped. And then I'd love to do casting again at some point. I just don't know who with and in what circumstance, but I'd love to do it again because it was a lot of fun. So if any of your esports organisations, hit me up.
I know some people.
Oh my God, please do. But yeah, what I'm saying is, it's amazing, like the type of people you will meet when you find people with the same interests. And Pallet Town Heroes is like the same kind of concept. Everyone is there because they like similar things or the same things, and you can meet amazing people through it as well. I've met these two lovable idiots. I've met some amazing people like the gym challenge, interacting with them and just talking to them through Discord, and it's amazing. And I wouldn't change it for the world. It's great.
Yes.
No.
And on that note,
yes.
yes. On that note,
I am pretty fantastic.
Am I okay? Am I okay to say something before we finish?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's just because I don't know if I'm going to be back on. Cody might absolutely hate this and be like, no, Riley, never come. Just stay in the darkness, my son.
Push you back into the bush. You stay there now.
Please. Okay. So, Pallet Town Heroes, Beans and Peeps. I just wanted to take 5 minutes to say, right now, the world is an incredibly scary time. I know everyone's kind of worried about what tomorrow is going to bring, what next week is going to bring. But little reminder from Rileyy, just because this is one of the only things keeping me going at the minute. A lot of the things you do are creative things. And I know a lot of people have unfortunately lost their jobs and they're desperate for money and they don't know when, you know, the next food shop's going to come in. But you have all this free time now to do creative things and help and support other people. And sometimes you forget how much of an impact your streams can have on someone's mental well-being. So, for example, when I've seen Bees or Cinder stream recently, when I'm working on commissions and I feel really low, I'll go in, say hi, and I come out feeling cloud9. So the streams you're doing now, even if you have no motivation to do it, they're making a difference and they're bringing in a much wider community than what you realize. So cherish the fact you're in Pallet Town Heroes. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being creative. And overall, thank you for letting me be part of your creative journey. It's massively appreciated and I've had so much fun. And to Bees and Cinder, thank you for letting me come on the podcast, because this has been a massive positivity boost for the day. It's given me a nice break from commissions as well. Although, not going to lie, I've been clicking in the background. I apologise.
Now Reinot's going to have to sit there and edit out every click.
Love you, Reinot. Sorry.
No, I didn't even know you were. I did not even know you were clicking.
I think that's a great note to end it on.
Absolutely.
Well put. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast for starters, and thank you for all the work you do for Pallet Town Heroes, and even me on a personal level, and Cinder on a personal level.
Yeah.
And you know, I my words of encouragement to everybody is that if you're looking for someone who will create an amazing, whether it's an overlay or artwork or anything to do with streaming, make sure you check out Rileyy. You'll get above and beyond what you're probably going to expect, and that's honest. It's coming from someone who has got stuff from Rileyy, and not just for my channel, for other projects that I've been working on as well. You know, so make sure you check Rileyy out. We'll put all the links in that in the description below. It's not negotiable. Also, if you want to keep up with everything, as always, we do encourage you to follow the Twitter account for the Pallet Town Heroes. And also, if you want to join the Discord, feel free to join the Discord. There's always people hanging around in there. And looking for things to do. So yeah, and as I said, content-wise, we will keep you posted. The podcast is at this point going to be still coming out once a week. If we do skip a week, we will let you know. Obviously, it just depends on lots of things at the moment. But our intention is to bring it back to being a weekly thing, and hope that it brings a bit of lightheartedness to an otherwise rough situation at the moment, you know. And that's our goal at the end of the day with what we're doing with the podcast at the moment, is to try and alleviate some of that, even if it's for an hour, just to listen to us waffle on and be idiots.
That's the only reason you could do our streams, let's face it.
Exactly. Of course. So anyway, so we'll see you next time. So this has been Dragon Bees.
And this has been Cinder Shots, and thank you, Rileyy, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week. Stay home, stay safe, look after yourself, and wash your damn hands.